this is Pooja and welcome to Food Without Borders. Now, if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button because I share a lot of delicious recipes from across the globe. And if you've already been a part of the Food Without Borders family, thank you so much for all your support and welcome to another year, 2019, and me sharing some of my favorite recipes with you guys. So today's recipe is a Greek-style gyro sandwich. Now, what I love about this recipe is you can make the meat ahead of time, and all you have to do is slice them, saute them with some onion, and stick it in your pita bread or gluten-free pita bread, grain-free pita bread. With me, what I love particularly about this recipe is this is a Whole30 recipe, and come January, I am Whole30, which is no grains, no gluten. Of course, no grains is no gluten, sugar-free, alcohol-free, and it kind of sounds depressing, but I get to eat a lot of delicious foods, and I know many of you are trying to be on a diet or eat clean, at least for the month of January. So here's a recipe that's worth a share. So let's get started. All right, the first thing you will need to do is preheat your oven to a 350 Fahrenheit. Get your loaf pan. Now, I will leave the details of the dimensions of the loaf pan on my blog and the measurements also on my blog, which is www.foodwithoutborders.us. I will leave a link to it in the description box so you can go check that out. I have a food processor. Food processor is really a helper here because it emulsifies everything together and you do not need to do a lot of work. Now, if you are new to cooking, this is a recipe that you can start with because this is so simple. I'm going to add my fresh herbs here. So garlic goes in and so goes the onion. To this, I am also going to add some cumin powder, some dried oregano, and some pepper. I usually prefer chopping the onion and the garlic ahead of time just so that they get like a little heads up because the meat is already ground, and if I overload the blender, then everything would not mix the way I want it to. So if you notice, I've just finely chopped the onion and the garlic, which is what I want. And to this, I am going to add the meat. I'm also going to use my hands here. This is ground beef, and this is about 85-15. You could use a leaner meat, but this is what was the organic kind that I could find in my at my butcher. So I'm using this. I am going to now blend this all together. I forgot the salt, so I'm going to add the salt now. Hey, this is not ready yet, so this is better, right? Before you forget adding the salt completely. Clearly, I'm all over the place today. It's New Year's. You can be all over the place. This is my New Year's resolution. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm happy being imperfect. Okay, let's do this one more time. All right, this is all done, and it took about 4 to 5 minutes for this whole thing to blend together. Now, with my loaf pan, this is a non-stick loaf pan, but just to be sure, I always try spraying my loaf pan or greasing it a little before I stick it in the oven. This is done. Now, do you see the consistency of the meat? It's almost like a smooth paste. All right, I'm going to gently transfer this into the loaf pan now. And if you don't want to use beef, you could definitely use a lamb, ground lamb. You could use a combination of lamb and beef. Sometimes I make it with bison because it's kind of leaner too. So the choice of red meat is yours completely. All right, I am going to just flatten it in this pan. And this is a lot of meat, and if you were to make it ahead of time, imagine the number of sandwiches or protein that you would have for your salad or sandwich. And that is it. This will go into the oven for about an hour, and then when it comes out, I'm going to let it cool down completely. And then what I like to do is let it rest in the refrigerator overnight, or at least for 3-4 hours. And then when I come back, I'm going to slice it and put it in a sandwich, and we'll make a really delicious yogurt sauce or dressing to go with your salad or go in your sandwich, and get the sandwich going. So I'll see you soon. So folks, we are back, and I let this sit in the refrigerator overnight, and now I am going to show you how to slice this while I have my skillet heating up here. And it's very simple. Just cut it into thin slices like so. Alright folks, I think I have enough for 2 sandwiches. I'm going to go wash my hands, come back, and then we will saute this. To this hot pan, I am going to add some oil, and very little, not a lot. Let this heat up. And this should take just a minute. Then I am going to add the gyro slices here. And what I'm trying to do is just spread them roughly. I'm going to flip this, and I'm just sauteing it for a couple of minutes on each side until it has like a brown toasty texture on top. Now to this, I am going to add my sliced onions here. I'm not trying to cook the onions, I'm just trying to roast them as well. All right, this is done. There we have our gyro sandwich filling ready. Now let's put the sauce together. I have some yogurt here. Into this yogurt, I am going to add some lemon juice, a hint of pepper, crushed garlic clove, and to this some salt. Give this a whisk so that it's all combined. If you notice, I have 2 kinds of flatbread. One is a Middle Eastern pita bread, and the other one is a grain-free, gluten-free tortilla that I found in my supermarket. I love eating it with this because I don't eat a lot of gluten, but this is for the other person, the cameraman who's supposed to be eating with me, will be having the pita bread. So for those of you who would love this in a pita sandwich, I will show you how to put that together too, and a gluten-free sandwich here. Now, if you are looking for a paleo gluten-free flatbread recipe, I have a video for that, and I will leave a link to it in the description box, so you will have that too. Just gonna warm up the pita bread a little too. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. It works for me in my house. Done. Cut this in half, and it has a pita pocket there. First step would be to get meat and the onions. You can add some lettuce to yours. I love cucumbers and tomatoes in mine. And some of the yogurt sauce here. And this is a great recipe if you're hosting folks at home, because you can throw all this on a huge platter and people can help themselves. And so mine is all set. Now let's put the one with the pita bread. So here's the pita pocket. That's the tomatoes, some of the cucumber. Stick those veggies in, right? And a generous drizzle of the sauce. And that is it. Here's the pita sandwich all ready for you. I am infamous in my house to have overfilled my pita bread. I usually do that. It's not a surprise, but I just had the cucumber. I haven't had a bite of the gyro yet. This recipe is so packed with flavors. The meat is cooked so well, and it's so well seasoned with the oregano and cumin. You have to give this recipe a try. I'm having it, like I said, with a paleo pita bread, flatbread. But you could have it on a bed of salad if you want to, and use this as a dressing. Give this recipe a try, guys. This is one of those recipes that you will surely enjoy because we love it in my family. And let me know what you think and how do you make your gyro sandwiches at home. If you do, leave me a comment below and let me know how you do it. And I will leave a written version of this recipe in the description box and a written version of the recipe on my blog, which will be in the description box. Of course, I'm in such a rush to eat, so I can't even focus. So I'm going to go enjoy this meal and I will see you next week. Until then, bye.